It's ISO Superpole Race from the 2023 Pirelli Emilia-Romagna round here in Misano. Again, an initial strong reaction from top-rack Razgatlioglu, and this time it's enough to hold on ahead of Michael Ruben Rinaldi at the front. Rinaldi is bunching up the pack somewhat. They're side by side further back, and two riders are down. Dominic Egerter has come to grief, and it's his teammate Remy Gardner who is down with him, and Egerter rushing straight back to his machine as the action continues on at the front, and Razgatlioglu barrels down the inside of Alvaro Bautista through turns 4 and 5. So Razgatlioglu, who was relegated quickly back to third position in race 1 yesterday afternoon, has got straight to the front this time around, and Bautista looks vulnerable. Rinaldi now coming through to the inside line under heavy braking, the heaviest braking zone on the circuit into La Quecha. It is Ducati 2, 3 and 4 at present. Bautista still ahead of Rinaldi for the moment at least, but here goes Axel Bassani as they come towards turns 9 and 10. Rinaldi holds the line, and Bassani avoids a repeat of their collision at the Catalunya round last time out.
Yeah, and for Bautista, it's now about trying to hunt down Toprak, and you can see on that number 1 Ducati, he gets good run out of turn 10 down towards Corvona. That's where he was able to make some moves in the past. Toprak able to hold on to that position on lap 1. And
Razgatlioglu already having to move around to stop Bautista from thinking about charging through on the inside line into Corvona. It is going to be a 10-lap defence here for Razgatlioglu at the front of the field. I don't think there's too much doubt about that. The two yellow bikes, the Ducatis with their special livery for this weekend, are right on Razgatlioglu's tail.
Yeah, and we know that with Bautista out there on that X tyre, maybe for Rinaldi there's a chance in this one to use that softer tyre to challenge his teammate as well. We saw yesterday, obviously, Bautista able to run away at the front of the field, won by 5 seconds. Going to be a very different story in this one. 510 metres, that start-finish straight. Not an opportunity there for Bautista to get alongside Razgatlioglu, but he is still right in contention. Behind this lead trio, Axel Bassani menacing on the tail of Rinaldi, but he's also got to defend against Jonathan Rea, who's already got clear of Danilo Petrucci on the opening lap. Let's see what happens on the exit of the next left-hander that leads onto the straight that goes down to turn 8. If Bautista can get close enough to try and attack on Toprak into the long left-hander.
Quick word on the top 9 positions. Leccuona, Lowe's and Locatelli provisionally would be the third row of the grid for race 2 this afternoon.
Yeah, just looking at this incident there with Aguilar gets a little bit of contact with Petrucci and then gets pushed out to his teammate, and both GRT riders down, but neither of them really at fault for that one.
Axel Bassani through now on Michael Ruben Rinaldi. The rivalry is resumed between the two of them. They had a contact in the Indonesian round in the early stages, with Rinaldi at fault and going down on that occasion. They had 2 collisions bar to bar at the Catalunya round last time out, and Rinaldi ended up in the gravel trap, and Bassani was penalised for that one. But this time it's a clean move from Bassani to get through into P3. Oh, Rinaldi very aggressive there on Bassani, stands him up as they go through the slowest corner on the circuit, turn 14, and Bassani has to work hard to recover the racing line ahead of Jonathan Rea, who is kept behind him for the moment in P5. Bautista, meanwhile, has latched right onto the tail now of top-rack Razgatlioglu as they come onto the start-finish straight at the beginning here of lap number 3, but Razgatlioglu's heavy braking in towards turn number 1 keeps him in front for the moment at least.
Yeah, for Toprak it's going to be about trying to defend through the left-hander turn 6 down towards turn 8 at the end of that short straight, and then on the run down towards turn 11 at Corvona. Everywhere else he should be able to defend because he got heavier braking zones. That plays to Toprak's strength. Rinaldi doing a good job at this stage. We saw the robust move from Michael to get himself back into the top 3. He knows that 3 podiums has to be the goal in this race, in this weekend.
Bautista with an opportunity here, perhaps through Corvona. We saw him making those passes last season when he needed to, and he's capitalised on that. Gets through to the front. He was latched onto the tail of Razgatlioglu coming off turn 10, uses the top speed and the power of that Ducati to slingshot himself past, and he is through on Razgatlioglu for the race lead on lap 3.
Yeah, no surprise to see him able to use that strength on the exit of turn 10. He exits that corner so well. That's where he made a lot of moves last year. Toprak, is he going to have a chance to answer back? If it is, it's going to be a bit of a wild move probably down into the likes of turn 4 if he's able to keep close enough. We know that Toprak loves this track. We know that the 10-lap Superpole race can be one of his big strengths. We'll see if he's able to bring the fight to Alvaro.
Bad news for Danilo Petrucci. He's been given a long lap penalty. That's for that 3 abreast situation in towards turn 2 early on. Of course, the GRT Yamahas have come off worse for that incident, but it is going to cost Petrucci time and rules him out of that battle for the podium places.
Yeah, have to see it again to see exactly what happened to Danilo, if he changed his line, and that's what brought him into Domi Aguilar. It looked like the typical instant you get into turn 2. Misano's a little bit of a pinch point at turn 2 rather than turn 1, just because that change of direction.
Well, I think the others were bunching up and Petrucci saw an opportunity to try and launch himself alongside them, and he's collided into them probably from behind there. That will be the reason that Petrucci has been given that penalty. Further back, Xavi Vierque. This is a really important move from Vierque. Gets himself up into the top 9. Bassani, Ray and Petrucci, but Petrucci has got to serve that penalty, and that might bring Alex Lowe's up onto the second row of the grid. He's currently P7 ahead of Lecuona and Vierque. The two Hondas now set to scrap it out for 8. Here's Razgat Lioglu trying to fight back at Bautista. We watch now as the Ducati escapes slightly away. It's only 500 metres, just over 500 metres though, in towards turn number 1, and Bautista is not able to make too much of a margin. So Razgat Lioglu with another new fastest lap of the race, another new lap record, trying to maintain his Superpole race lap record set last season. He's going to lunge down the inside of Bautista in towards turn 4. Razgat Lioglu takes track position and gets back to the inside line through turn 5. Nice work from the number 54.
Yeah, lovely stuff from Toprak there. You can see on the start-finish straight, just losing a couple of bike lengths, but for Toprak, he was then able to carry the momentum down through turns 1, 2 and 3 especially, and then make the move into 4. It was set up nicely from Toprak from a few corners earlier. Really good riding from him.
133.1 last time around from Razgat Lioglu. The lap record set in the Superpole race by Toprak a year ago, 133.7. So astonishing pace here as Danilo Petrucci peels off to the side of the circuit to carry out that long lap penalty. He's losing a lot of time through there, and he's going to lose a lot of positions. He's going to drop out of the top 9 altogether. He'll slot in behind Andrea Locatelli. That will move him back up onto the 3rd row of the grid for race 2 this afternoon. So Lowe's now up into 6th position. A place on the 2nd row beckons for him. Next man in line for Alex Lowe's to try and recover against is Jonathan Ray. 4 riders, one directly behind the other at the moment. It's also worth points paying positions, and Locatelli now gives himself a bit of breathing room compared to Danilo Petrucci, who we expect to be the fastest man of that group, but who is at the back of the train for the moment, having served his long lap penalty. So Locatelli through on Lecuona for P7. Lecuona down to 8th. Vierque right behind his teammate now, scrapping for 8th and 9th positions, last of the points paying places, and Danilo Petrucci right with them. The gap now down to less than a 1/10 of a second. We can see them absolutely on their tails and almost tripping over them as well.
Yeah, and it is easy in a situation like this to lose a lot of lap time just as you battle with one another in that first sector in particular. That's why it was important for Locatelli to come through into turn 1, getting himself that little bit of a buffer helps.
And
that's
this
Petrucci
is an incident.
down.
Petrucci is down, and that's going to be the number 7 Honda of Iker Lecuona. So fighting it out for 9th position, last of the points paying positions, and both of them have come to grief at turn 8 where Petrucci had his incident yesterday. Meanwhile, up at the front, Alvaro Bautista is through on Toprak Razgat Lioglu. Another big bold move through Curvone, and balls of steel required through there. It is one of the fastest areas on this circuit. Razgat Lioglu can't take the high ground through Caro. Bautista has defended tight on the inside line. Experience brought to bear there by Alvaro Bautista.
Yeah, that's really good riding to take off that line from Toprak. Means that you can't really attack through there. Let's see if Alvaro's able to get the head down and open up a little bit of a margin.
Coming in towards lap number 8 then, we know that Bautista is strong in a straight line, but we know Toprak is strong under braking, so the advantages of Bautista and Razgat Lioglu cancelling one another out there. We've got a red flag. That will be presumably for the incident there for 9th position. Bautista's seen the flag quicker, raises his hand, and we're going to pick up the incident here.
And that's a big, heavy impact for Petrucci as well. You can see there his helmet just hits the asphalt, but for Iker Lecuona, there's nothing really Iker can do. He's come into that corner out in front, and Petrucci makes a mistake trying to get down the inside.
Ladies and gentlemen, make some noise. Alvaro Bautista, Toprak Razgat Lioglu, and Michael Ruben Rinaldi. Alvaro Bautista presented by Max Biaggi, and he now stays in the centre to present the trophies. Congratulations to the top 3, ladies and gentlemen.